You're watching Mugen TV RPG Haven. Experience a fantasy like no other.
Hey guys, it's MugenLord here, and right now I just want to talk a quick moment about Final Fantasy VII Remake because just a few minutes ago I ended the live stream where I pretty much chilled with you guys and watched the Sony State of Play. So if you guys have missed out on the Sony State of Play, and if you don't know what that is, that's pretty much a Sony equivalent to a Nintendo's Direct, where Sony reveals some of the new releases that they have coming up and what to expect throughout the year. And I had a good time. I had a really good time, and I have it archived on my YouTube channel. So if you missed out on it, you can go check it out to get our reactions and everything. Because I had my brother Keel Lancer and Dig Strike, and of course I had my father Ion 8 as well on the live stream. So you got a chance to chat with my father and my brothers, and it was pretty fun. But let's dive right into it because oh boy, Final Fantasy VII Remake was pretty much the highlight and pretty much ended the State of Play. And many people speculated whether or not that Square Enix was going to have some news regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake or even Remake Part 2. We just didn't know. A lot of people were looking forward to see whether or not we was going to have any information revealed and shown off at the orchestra event about 2 weeks ago, but that didn't happen because instead we pretty much got an announcement of Kingdom Hearts coming to the PC, and it's also only exclusive to the Epic Games Store, which have a lot of the fans going quite nuts and quite so. I really feel for the Kingdom Hearts fans, and plus the fact is that they're selling these older games and these older titles at a pretty much at a premium price of $60. A lot of people wasn't really feeling that, but never mind that. Final Fantasy VII Remake. So what type of information that we got as far as that's concerned? Now, the thing is, before that, there were speculations that we was going to get a pretty much a high definition version, or I guess you could say the superior version of Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PlayStation 5. And also people speculating whether or not it was going to come to the PC or even the Xbox Series X. But most definitely for the PS5, people was expecting a mastered version, a high definition version, a complete version. And that's pretty much what we got. But I was only expecting the fact is that we were just going to get, 60 frames per second, better visuals, upgraded textures and everything, but we got a little bit more. Now, in my previous video, I did talk about there was rumors that we was going to get some chapters that was left out of the game of Final Fantasy VII Remake that the developers initially wanted to put in there, like the chapter for Tifa, that Tifa was supposed to have her own chapter, but we got a little bit more, and I didn't expect them to go this far and push in that direction. We have Yuffie as a playable character. She has her own DLC episode where it just focuses on Yuffie, and we get a bit of intel on Wutai themselves. And it really floored me and took me by surprise because I was not expecting that at all. Yuffie's in fact a playable character, and we get to see how Yuffie intertwines with the story of Final Fantasy Remake. And as far as I know, and from what I'm speculating here, it's showing that Yuffie and Wutai and their faction was pretty much infiltrated within Midgard itself, and that they were behind the scenes as we as the players was playing through with Cloud and the others during the whole events of Midgard. So now we get to see some extra layer of story and depth with the characters and see what Yuffie and them was doing behind the scenes. Now the thing that I do want to know is the fact is that will Yuffie and them and this new party member, this new character, totally original character, and I must say that he looks like a complete badass. Now, the question is, I really want to know is, will they have some form of interaction with Cloud and the others, or with Tifa and Barrett, since it has a lot to do with the relationship with Avalanche and Wutai, and like I said before, within the story, spoilers if you don't know, Avalanche with Barrett and the others was pretty much framed, saying that the president of Shinra was pretty much saying that Avalanche is working hand in hand with Wutai, because Wutai was an enemy of Shinra at one point in the war. So we pretty much going to probably get some backstory on that. Maybe we get some, I guess you could say, some interaction between Yuffie or something with Barrett and Tifa. That would be pretty interesting. Now, as far as the combat is concerned, Yuffie looks great, even down to her combat, and even the new character, which we don't have a specific name of who this character is, but he uses a staff a bow staff, which is pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me of the Son Goku, you know, the monkey staff, which is pretty much based after, you know, Asian mythology. And Wu Tai, if you don't know, is more as far as aesthetics and design, is based off of, you know, Asian culture anyway. So it kind of makes sense. But we do get a look at a lot of new characters that we have yet to ever see in Final Fantasy VII and in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I want to see how they would definitely play a role in the overall story. Now, it wasn't just that they revealed and showed off that caught me off guard and pretty much took me by surprise. Is the fact is that they also showed some special Shinra soldiers that resemble soldiers or characters from Dirge Cerberus, which was the Vincent spin-off series back during the Final Fantasy VII compilation. It seemed like they're integrating elements from Dirge Cerberus, because we also get some hints of one of the villains that was from Dirge Cerberus, the last villain. It shows some pretty much a glimpse or images of him as well. So to me, this pretty much solidified that this is not a remake at all. This is either a retelling or this is continuing the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, and that this is pretty much generally a sequel to Final Fantasy VII and not a remake at all. This is like totally took me by surprise. So now I'm going into the next part with that in mind, because now I should not even expect them to pretty much stick to the script at this point. I mean, they did reveal a lot of elements in part 1 of the remake that they was changing a few things, but after these conflicting interviews saying that no, they're going to stick more so to the original script leading to part 2, but after seeing this and how they're integrating some Dirge Cerberus characters and plot elements and how they're going to interweave this into Final Fantasy VII Remake, this is a completely different game. And I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. I'm kind of like looking forward to see what they're going to do with this, even though despite that I did not like the ending and the direction they're going, but it still has me curious whether or not that these guys are going to turn this around and bring me on board with it, or are they going to completely turn me away from it after part 2. So I'm definitely waiting to see how they're going to go with this. But overall, from what we know about this definitive edition, not only that we got a new chapter or episode starring Yuffie and this new protagonist character that's included with her. We also gonna get some story elements to find out what Tifa and Barrett been up to ever since they had Lost Cloud. And then on top of that, looking at what they've done with this, we're gonna get 4K 60 frames per second. So we get to have 4K gameplay and consistent 60 frames per second gameplay. That is going to be lovely. It looks beautiful how it moves. And then we also have a photo mode added to the game where you can be able to pause the game, have screenshots, and I can't wait to see what the community comes up with some of the screenshots and be able to share it amongst the community. I think that's gonna be pretty interesting to see what the fan base do with that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm super excited, and I'm glad that they upgraded the texture, especially with the upper plate. They definitely put emphasis on that. They also fixed the upper plate textures as well, so it looks much more dynamic than it looked in the original version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So this game, like I said, Final Fantasy VII Remake was the game of 2020 for me in terms of just the overall package, the presentation, gameplay, everything. I did enjoy the experience, and I'm already doing my second playthrough. If you guys are interested in that, you can check out the stream archives on that as well that I've been doing. But it looks like I'm gonna have to do a third playthrough once this releases on the PS5. You can still keep your PS4 disc. So if you do have a PS5, you can just put it in and it automatically upgrades your PS4 version to the PS5 version for free. The only thing that you need to pay for is the Yuffie DLC. And I forgot, I just jumped into this without even mentioning it to you, that this definitive edition is called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. That's what it's called. So I think that's pretty cool. And maybe the Intergrade, because it seems like what Square Enix do too with these titles, it's a lot of wordplay. Maybe the Intergrade has something to do with some of the new story elements added into Final Fantasy VII Remake with this definitive edition. So I'm looking forward to it. We're definitely going to dig deep into it in another video when I do an actual analysis breakdown of what we seen so far with this trailer. So hopefully they put out some more trailers to show off some other elements, but we definitely going to keep a close eye out on this. I'm looking forward to this. I'm hyped. Just the fact is that 60 frames, 4K, and then we're going to get some Yuffie gameplay on top of that and some extra story elements. Definitely looking forward to it. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is the definitive edition? Are you looking forward to it? Have you even played Final Fantasy VII Remake at all? And is this enough to even get you to be on board with at least giving this game a try? And what do you think? What elements do you think Yuffie will play in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 with this version? And what emphasis are they going to put as far as this backstory for Wutai and Avalanche? I definitely want to hear your thoughts. And if you like the video, make sure you subscribe. Or if you're Odyssey, if you're on the Odyssey platform, make sure you hit that follow button to follow me for more RPG content related to Final Fantasy VII Remake and other RPGs alike. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you Game Fiends later. Peace out.